Rinse takes your laundry and hand-delivers it to your door, expertly cleaned and folded. So you could take the time once spent folding and sorting and waiting to finally pursue a whole new version of you. Like Tea Time You. Or this Tea Time You. Or even this Tea Time You.
Said you hear about Dave?
Or even Tea Time You.
So update on Dave.
It's up to you. We'll take the laundry. Rinse. It's time to be great.
This episode is brought to you by AT&T, the network that helps Americans make connections. When you compare, there's no comparison. AT&T. Around the country, today is Election Day, and Adelita Grijalva knows a lot about elections. She herself was just elected to Congress in Arizona's 7th district. And this is a family affair, because before that, her father held the seat for more than 2 decades. She's even got a routine for days like today.
You have to keep yourself busy, because just sitting there and waiting is just torture.
In your family, did you have a tradition?
Oh, yeah. So we would go to San Javier, which is the mission, the San Javier mission, and go light candles. So every election day, I do it every election day. My dad has done it. Like, my dad was in elected office for 50 years. So we would go with him. And then when I started running, we would do it.
I can't pretend to know what Adelita prayed for on her election day. But more than a month later, I think it's fair to say what happened next would not be called an answer to anyone's prayers. You see, Adelita won her election by a landslide. But for the last 6 weeks, the Speaker of the House has refused to seat her.
Look at what happened. We got access to the office.
Adelita has been to Washington, but she can't do a whole lot there. She started putting out these videos counting up all the things she is actually unable to do.
Check out this super cool printer. I can't print to it, though, because I don't have a government email.
Democrats have tried to doorstop Mike Johnson about all of this.
So I am anxious to administer the oath to her as soon as you guys vote to open the government.
This is Speaker Johnson talking to Arizona Senators Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego a few weeks back. He hems and he haws before the senators put forward their theory, that his delay here is about one thing: Jeffrey Epstein.
It has nothing to do with Epstein. The House Oversight Committee.
Listen close and you'll hear Senator Gallego saying, you don't want her, Grijalva, to be on Epstein discharge. That's a reference to the discharge petition that would let the House release the Epstein files without the Speaker's say-so. Johnson calls this allegation totally absurd. And Adelita knows this all sounds crazy, especially since before she won office, she was talking way more about water rights and mine safety than Epstein. But she would be a crucial 218th vote that could get these documents released. She was at her own victory celebration when she realized what might be about to happen.
And someone came up to me and said, you know, he's not going to swear you in because of those Epstein files. And I thought, no. And then literally every day that has passed, you're like, we're here waiting, and it's been 41 days. It's literally like unprecedented. I find it really interesting because I try not to look at comments, but I do anyway, every now and again when I'm just feeling like a little too happy. I don't know. Look at comments. And it's like, well, just wait your turn. I did wait my turn. I ran for office and I won. That was my turn. So now I get to get sworn in. And I just think that had Democrats done anything like this, people would be crazy. And here we are 41 days waiting, and there's literally no legitimate reason for Johnson not to swear me in.
Today on the show, one-on-one with the Congresswoman who is not quite a Congresswoman. Not yet. I'm Mary Harris. You're listening to What Next? Stick around. This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks makes it easy to find the perfect gifts and holiday looks that suit your personal style. The holidays can be a whole lot of things. Fun, relaxing, but also a little stressful because you've got a long list of friends and family and you gotta find a gift for everyone. If you go over to Saks.com, I guarantee it's gonna jumpstart all of your ideas for what you should be getting your friends and family. It is the only website on the internet where you're going to find super high-end luxury Prada sneakers next to a crystal floral A-line gown from MacDougall. And then that's right next to a Cynthia Rowley ombre long-sleeved wetsuit. These are things I did not know existed until I went to Saks.com. And now I'm like, maybe I should be getting a bathing suit for my mom this Christmas. Maybe. Going into this holiday season, I feel confident Saks is there to help me find inspiration, curate a holiday wish list, pick out gifts for my loved ones, and have a look ready whatever might come my way. Whether it's an office holiday party, a cozy night in, or a vacation getaway, Saks has got everything you could want. If you're looking for shopping to be personalized and easy this holiday season, then head to Saks Fifth Avenue for inspiring ways to shop for everyone on your list.
I want to step back a little bit. You won election on September 23rd, about a week before the government shut down. You were running for the seat held by your late father, Raul.
Yeah.
Who served 12 terms. He died in the spring. My condolences.
Thank you.
Did you think you were always going to run for his seat? Like, were you always interested in politics? Did you grow up with it in the house? And you're like, oh, yeah. Because you were on school boards and things, right?
Yes. No, I was not going to run for Congress.
Huh. What changed your mind?
I think that when he passed away, I was getting a lot of pressure from everybody, like family, friends, everybody. Like, you have to run, you have to run. And then I looked around and saw who else was running. And I was concerned that if we didn't have a progressive run, that we were going to get somebody that was not going to do the job my dad did.
Why did you not want to run? Like, why were you like, no, not me?
Because my babies are young and they're still in school.
You have teenagers.
Yeah, I'm very much a hovercraft parent. I go to all the things. I'm like in the PTA and mariachi mom. And I don't like to miss stuff. And so that was a big deal for me. And so I just asked my kids, and my youngest was actually the one who said, so mom, do I have to move? And I said, if you don't want to move, you don't have to move. Very important criteria. He's 14. And then he said, so if you don't run, who's going to? And do you think they'll do a better job than you do? And then he said, and what would Tata say? What would Tata want you to do? And I'm like, Tata's been wanting me to run for years. So
your dad.
So that was sort of the decision. Yeah, it was a rough one, though.
We should put your dad in context. Like, your dad, Bernie Sanders, said he was one of the most progressive members of the House.
Oh, no. He started the progressive movement he was a co-founder. He was progressive before it was a thing. And so the Progressive Caucus would not have existed without my dad being a part of it. And, what I heard very clearly, especially from older members of Congress, they'll come up to me and say, we loved your dad. And he said he was going to hang out until you were ready. I'm like, stop.
I mean, there was a progressive candidate or someone who called themselves progressive, this woman, Deja Fox, who an Instagram influencer. Why did you think, like, no, I want to do this?
Well, honestly, I announced first. So I had no idea that she was going to run until after I'd already decided. And I've known her since she was like 15. I think the issue there was that there was no history of being progressive or having any issues that are progressive. It was just, I'm young, so I'm progressive. And, some of the people that are the most progressive people that I've ever met are older, 70s, 80s, because they were like born, children of the hippies. Like they grew up in these movements and have consistently, as they've gotten older, become more and more progressive. And so for me, being progressive is not about, tell me you're progressive. It's like, show me how. And in that race, it became very personal about, how old I am and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I did not enjoy that. But
do you feel like it sharpened you in some ways?
Oh, yeah. Because you have to get yourself together on what you're going to stand up for and what you're willing to do and what you're not going to do. And I feel like, I took some pretty strong positions early on that people were like, don't come out against mining. Those are good union jobs. I'm like, yeah, but look at what they do and the devastation that happens as a result of it. And, don't put the environment first, don't talk about it so much. I mean, talk about other things. Like, no. This is the platform that we're going to run on. And it resonated with this community. And this community reelected my dad for 50 years.
So walk me through the timeline of what happened after you won election. Because it sounds like you had a couple of dates to get to Washington, get sworn in before the government shut down. And then it became a little bit of things were suddenly being punted. Were there reasons given for why?
No. So that's one of the things that has been really different about this case with Speaker Johnson and this sort of what feels very much it's an obstruction of, swearing us in, because we've had a whole class in 2019 that were sworn in during a shutdown. So the shutdown issue is a non-issue. So when I first got elected, what I'd heard is we'll wait for the certification. She'll wait until then, which the other 3 people that he's just sworn in, there's literally in under 24 hours, there was no way that their race was certified, but they did have a statement from their Secretary of State, which is what Johnson had for me. He had that information. So he sort of walked back from the certification piece and then went on to, we don't swear in a pro forma. And then you're like, let me remind you what happened in April.
Yeah, in April, Mike Johnson swore in to Florida people who had won elections, special elections, in a pro forma session.
Yep. In under 24 hours. And then he made the statement, well, that was different. That was different because they scheduled an appointment and flew their family down. They're from Florida. So I said, wait a minute, though, but their race was on the 1st.
Yeah.
April 1st, April Fool's Day, you get sworn, you win your election. And then in less than 24 hours, they've made arrangements, scheduled an appointment. I'm like, that sounds like that was done in advance, which is a little scary. And I'm like, well, where do I sign up for that option? Because you've never even contacted me.
So you showed up anyway. You showed up the week after your election.
Yeah.
When the shutdown was in full effect. What did you do when you went to Washington? Did you realize at a certain point, I think I'm just going to need to doorstop him? I'm getting these delays?
Well, we had Representative Morelli is I guess he's the official title escapes me, but it's mostly I'm going to help freshmen. So that's his job.
He's the buddy.
He's the buddy. And so he said, I have a spare conference room that's not being used. So if you want to use that, great. I said, okay, cool. So we had a spot for which to sort of sit there and literally did, I think that first day, 14 interviews. It's just a lot of interviews, a lot of press conferences, and really just let me get to know who this person is that Speaker Johnson doesn't want sworn in. And I honestly did not connect. I mean, people kept saying it was about the Epstein files. I mean, everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's what it's about.
We should clarify the Epstein thing for some listeners who may not know the dirty details. You would be the 218th vote to release the Epstein files in full. We've already seen Mike Johnson shut down Congress to avoid a vote like that in the summer. And you've said you weren't sort of campaigning on this. You weren't it's me, the 218th vote.
No.
When did you sort of begin to think maybe that's what this is about? And honestly, I still feel it's a little bit conspiratorial.
I do too.
But it is what nearly everyone is saying. This would be the reasoning. I think there are other reasons to mess with things, just to mess with things. But I don't know. What would happen if you were able to take that vote?
Well, I was trying to figure it out because, that's where people started saying he's going to do he has been given marching orders to do everything he can to avoid this vote. Your job as speaker is to swear people in, regardless of party, regardless of whether you like what we're going to do when we're in office. That's your job. And so that's been the most frustrating piece, is that I can't do a lot of things.
When we come back, if Congress is barely functioning, what can a new lawmaker realistically expect to get done? This episode is brought to you by AT&T, the network that helps Americans make connections. When you compare, there's no comparison. AT&T.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
This episode is brought to you by Rum Chata, a delicious creamy blend of horchata with rum. It's best enjoyed over ice or in your coffee. Rum Chata, delivering vacation vibes any way or anywhere you drink it. Find out more at rumchata.com. Drink responsibly. Caribbean rum with real dairy cream, natural and artificial flavors. Alcohol 13.75% by volume, 27.5 proof. Copyright 2025, Agave Loco Brands, Pewaukee, Wisconsin. All rights reserved.
I think some people would look at your situation and say, well, she's not seated, but what could she be doing? Because government's shut down. Also, the Democrats are not the party in power. So what's the point? Just wait. What would you say to people who say that?
Well, the thing is I can't onboard staff. We could get our offices ready to help constituents who are struggling right now. I mean, this shutdown is causing people to now miss their second full check. So we have 900,000 people that are not going to get SNAP benefits. Like, we could be part of that solution. We could be part of helping. We could be part of advocating. And there are constituent services if any member of Congress, when you talk about what's the most important part of your job, it is helping the people of the district that elected you. And literally, I just am doing similar events, going to events, going to fundraisers that for like 2 different mariachi groups. I went to 2 fundraisers yesterday. I'm like, I'm going to go. We're going to give out food boxes tomorrow to furloughed workers. So there are things that I'm partnering with other organizations, but that's not the individual help people need.
They need structural support.
Yes. Well, there's veterans that are not able to access their benefits. Especially during a shutdown when you have less staff at the federal level to help with these things. This is why you are there. And also, I can co-sponsor legislation. And so when Speaker Johnson says, well, she can be doing parts of her job, I'm like, well, can I sign the discharge petition? Can I do that? No, because there's a lot of things you can't do. It's not just ceremonial and getting a pin. Like, that pin indicates to everyone that now she is a member, and now we can authorize her to access her budget, to get stuff together, to order equipment that's going to be needed. I don't have an office in district anywhere. Right now I'm at our headquarters.
Can I ask a sensitive question and ask you to noodle through it with me? I think in the Democratic Party, there has been a lot of talk about passing the torch to a younger generation and whether there's problems with doing that. And I just feel like you're in this really interesting position where your father was in Congress for 12 terms and he was 77, I believe, when he passed. Is that right?
76.
76.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you might have some nuanced ideas here about what it means to pass a torch to a younger generation and what it means to support people who fought for the Democratic Party and what it believes in, and maybe even changed what the Democratic Party believes in a little bit, what it means to support people like that versus what it means to have new blood in the party.
I think it's not just about new blood or younger blood. It's about, are you going to stand up for ideals and values, or is the environment going to change you? And I fundamentally believe in local control and that local decisions are the best. Are the best.
So funny you say that. That's like a very Republican talking point from like Republicans 30 years ago.
Yeah, no. And this is what I mean. When you have a community that elects somebody repeatedly over and over again, if they feel like that is the best person to represent them, then I think that makes sense. And when you hear that narrative and it's not favorable, oh, this person has done way too long. They've been there too long. Part of the issue there is that, do those constituents keep voting these people in? Do you give them other more progressive options? And what does that look like? And so I had an opportunity to talk to David Hogg because, he supported my opponent in the race who was younger. And I said, let me just throw this out there. I am the most progressive member that was running, period. Look at all of I'm not trying to blow my own, toot my own horn, but this is facts, right? And he just kind of looked at me and nodded. And I said, so what I would recommend is what are the values, issues that you believe matter to the next generation? I'm going to throw some out there, like environmental justice for all, like the Green New Deal, having your higher education as free as possible, supporting public education, fully funding the Department of Education, all of these things. Pick whatever the issues are. And then look at members of Congress that are not voting or being not championing those issues. Then primary them. That makes sense to me. I have no issue with that, because if the person isn't doing the job, then I think primaries are healthy. I really do. But if you have somebody like my dad, who my understanding is Deja was going to run against him or whoever. Before he decided he wasn't going to run.
Deja Fox, the woman who you actually ran against too in the primary.
Right. Then that was an issue to me. Because I said, what do you bring to the table that he doesn't? For me, it's not about just the age. And I do think that there should be a nice mix of representation in age and experience, because I've gone into boards where I was the youngest person there. And it was helpful to have people, take me under their wing and say, this is how things are done. You have to learn the system before you can change it. I fundamentally believe that. But I have also been the older person. And when you're in these positions, are you then supporting younger voices to get into local positions, to learn the fundamentals? Because I believe that I am ready for anything, because I served 20 years on a school board in an urban district. You can't throw anything at me that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was said.
So do you think Democrats are doing enough of that?
No.
Building the ladders down? Because I feel like you're making a good and nuanced point, which is it's not just about please sit down person who is older. It's about making sure there are people trained up and ready to do that job if they do sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when people stay in positions, it does create this log jam where all of a sudden there is pressure to get younger people in there just because, frankly. But you're right that if people haven't been trained up, then it's there's no one ready to sit in that seat.
Right.
So have Democrats been doing enough training up of the younger generation?
Correct. And also, does your staff reflect the district?
So how do you want to do that as a representative? How do you want to make sure you're sort of building the ladders up and down?
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that I think my dad did incredibly well, is here locally, our party never really, local and national, the party never came to help him. Individual members would help him. Local people would help him, and everybody else. But it wasn't like the D-Trip was here and saying, here, let me help you, Congressman Grijalva. They were like, he's got it. It's a predominantly Dem district. And so we're going to focus our energies elsewhere. And what my dad did is create this huge umbrella of people. And if you look at Pima County and Tucson and see how we have the first Latina mayor. I was the first Latina elected to the Pima County Board of Supervisors. We have the most diverse school district governing boards. At the local level and the city council, same thing. There's an umbrella that's created here, and we work together to promote like-minded candidates, usually women and usually women of color. And so we're in spaces that if my dad didn't create that umbrella for all of us, we wouldn't be here. So that's part of my responsibility now, is to create that umbrella.
When you are sworn in, because I'm going to assume that eventually you are sworn in.
They don't have a choice. At some point, it has to happen.
What is the first thing you're going to do?
I'm going to sign the discharge petition for the Epstein files. There's also 6 other ones that I'm going to sign. There's like 30 pieces of legislation that I'm going to co-sponsor. So,
Did the discharge petition move up your list in the last month? The Epstein files?
oh, sure. I mean, I'm going to do that right away. Literally, I think we have a plan to like walk right over there and do it, because I just want to make really clear that when I said I was going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be like succumb to any sort of weird peer pressure. And also there are other specials coming. So there's a special in November. There's a special in December across the nation. They're likely Democrat candidates that are going to win, which I hope they do. So if it's not me, it's going to be somebody. And so finally, ultimately, I don't know what's actually going to come out of that release, because I've heard Speaker Johnson say, well, it's in oversight, and oversight has everything. And I've talked to Chair Garcia, and he's like, no, we don't. It's redacted. Almost all of it is like, crossed out with the big black Sharpie. So a lot of information is not out there. And so, and also I think it's really important for the survivors to finally have justice and have, their opportunity to see consequences, legal consequences to people who have committed horrific crimes against them.
How long do you think the shutdown's going to go on?
Gosh, I'm really worried because, we're getting closer to Thanksgiving. Like, I thought we would be done. And so every day that we're closed means that people are going to go hungry. There are programs like the senior programs and Head Start that aren't going to have food. It's going to impact our most vulnerable populations. And we already see a really long line at food banks. And, our local communities don't have the capacity to do all of that for a prolonged period of time. It's going to be hard.
Representative Grijalva, I'm really grateful for your time. You took a lot of it with me, so thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the chat.
Adelita Grijalva is the representative-elect for Arizona's 7th Congressional District. And that's our show. What Next is produced by Elena Schwartz, Rob Gunther, Anna Phillips, and Madeline Ducharme. Paige Osburn is the senior supervising producer of What Next and What Next TBD. Mia Lobel is the head of audio at Slate. Ben Richmond is our senior director of podcast operations. And I'm Mary Harris. You can go track me down on Blue Sky. I'm at Mary Harris. Thanks for listening. Catch you back here next time.
You know the words that dominate our news cycle.
Private equity keeps inventing
generative artificial intelligence
tax on home.
America's chip fueled by market volatility. Bets on Fed rate cuts.
But do you truly understand how they impact your world and your wallet? In a world that skims the what, understand the why. Because context changes everything. Subscribe to learn more at Bloomberg.com, the global benchmark for business news.